What's up guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Owls Drum School. In this week's lesson, I wanted to talk a little bit about feeling overwhelmed. In last week's blog, I wrote a lot about this and gave you some tips and ideas to help you overcome these feelings. Now this is nothing new and I'm sure everyone has felt this. It's a completely natural thing. It's totally normal for us to feel this while we're learning the drums and actually learning any instrument for that matter. When we start something new, there's so much information out there to try and take in. It can be really overwhelming and actually eventually off-putting. So what I want to do in this lesson is try and show you some of the ideas and things that I use on a daily basis to help me overcome these feelings. So a big thing for me when I'm going into the practice room or learning something new is trying not to expect too much of myself in that practice session. And the way that I do that is I break things into manageable chunks. It makes it a lot easier to deal with. For instance, if you're trying to reach a certain tempo, in my practice diary, I'll have the goal tempo and then I'll have the tempo for the day or the last day that I was practicing. And each day I'll be moving up little bit by little bit. If I was to try and expect myself to jump from 80 BPM to 180 BPM in one practice session, that's not really going to work. That's not realistic. That eventually is going to make me feel overwhelmed. I'm going to feel not good enough. I'm going to feel inadequate and feel like there's just too much for me to sort of deal with in one go. So break things down into chunks. That's my first tip. Make it easy for yourself. Make it nice and manageable. You'll also that way see your progress bit by bit. And each time you gain a little bit further or each time you get a little bit further in your practice, you'll feel good. That's going to fill you with confidence. So I just mentioned about using a practice diary. And if you've seen any of the previous lessons, you'll know I'm a big advocate for using a practice diary. It's really important in my learning, helps me break things down, helps me understand exactly where I am. And it also saves me a lot of time when I am in the practice room. So the way I use it to help me deal with feeling overwhelmed is by looking at the stages I'm at and where I've come from and where I'm at now and how that progression has worked over time. It makes me feel really confident, makes me feel really good about what I'm doing. It also helps me see the light at the end of the tunnel. It makes me understand that I will get to my goal eventually if I just keep at it. Another little thing I'll try and do is make sure I've slept well, make sure I've eaten a good breakfast. Often exercise in the morning gets me in a really good mind state as well. I personally like to do yoga as much as possible. That really helps not only mentally but physically. I'm also a big fan of meditation. It's up to you what you do for your exercise. These are just some things that have helped me. There's a few other things we can do in the practice room to make things a little bit easier on ourselves, and that's to do with gear. So are you using the right sticks? Are you using the right gear? Have you got the gear set up properly? Are your drums exactly where you like them to be? Now these are things that can take time. The more we play, the more we find out exactly how we want things set up. And why not try some stuff? Move things about. Move the ride over here, move the hi-hat, angle your pedals differently, lift your stool up and down. Try some different things. Now my suggestion would be to not move 7 different things at one time. Move one thing, try it for half an hour or so, see how that feels. If it's comfy, great. If it's not, move it back. So we've just been through quite a lot of information there and quite a lot of tips and tricks to try. As one of the tips says, don't try them all at once. Break them down. Try a little bit each time. See what works best for you. These are by no means rules, guys. These are just things that work for me and I want to see if they work for everyone else as well. Let's summarize. Eat well. Rest well. Don't expect too much of yourself before you go into the practice room. Break things down into manageable chunks. Go slow. Remember, the slower you do it, the quicker you learn it. Keep your body fit and mobile and stretched well. Choose the right gear for you and set it up properly. I hope this lesson will help some of you deal with these feelings. It's a totally natural thing and something we all deal with, no matter where we are in our journey in learning an instrument. We all have these days, guys. So try not to worry too much if it's something you're dealing with. It will pass and you will overcome those challenges. If you'd like to find out more, guys, feel free to get in touch. I'm always here to chat about this kind of thing and I'm always willing to help. I hope you guys are having a great week, and I'll catch you next time.